What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel for the first time in 2026. Of course, it is that time of year again. We are nearing the beginning of the 2026 AFL Premiership season. So of course, along with that, that means that we have to redo our AFL fantasy team for the upcoming year. Of course, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I've only ever done AFL fantasy once before, and it was kind of a disaster. So hopefully we can do a step better this year. Okay, so to begin, I don't really know where to start. I reckon we will start at the defenders and just work our way down the list. Or we might pick our key players in each position and then figure out the rest of the team from there. I think that might be the play. So we will start off with one of our key defenders to begin with. You could probably see him at the top of the list. I think he is a go-to player for a lot of fantasy players this year because he was incredible last season. But as our first defender, we will go Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. I think he is probably the go-to pick. I know he's expensive, upwards of the 1 million range, 1.1 million, 1.16. But he is definitely one of the ones we pick first. And I think that'll be a lot of case with a lot of fantasy players this year. Okay, for our next pick, I am really looking at Bailey Dale of the Western Bulldogs. It's obviously priced at 960,000, and the average of 92, not the best on the list. However, he was incredible last year. I know as a player, I'm not sure fantasy wise because I didn't really follow it last year. But I think Bailey Dale is definitely one to include in our team. And look, now we have to be sort of cautious with how much money we've spent. We spent 2 mil on our backline already. We've got 2 players in there. So we'll scroll down the list a bit and we'll look for some more affordable, reliable defenders. And I don't think there's anyone more reliable than Nick Blakey, who you can see on the list here. Averaging 85, priced at 890,000. Look, expensive. He's probably not a bad pick. But looking underneath him, you do have Jasper Fletcher. I am a Lions fan. I love Jasper Fletcher, one of my favorite players. So the Lions fan in me has to pick Jasper Fletcher as our third defender. Before we move too much further forward, I do want to pick our key midfielders before we finish off the back line. I think that's probably just a smart thing to do, just so we can spread our money out across the field and pick up some decent players all across the field. So moving into the midfield, options obviously going to be more expensive, but this is where our averages, our really high averages sit. Look, I don't really know who I want to pick. Obviously there is some impeccable players here, like genuinely incredible players. Obviously Bailey Smith, Marcus Bontempelli, Harry Sheezel, another big one. Look, I remember I had Harry Sheezel in my team a couple of years back. He was reliable enough. That was back when he was a rookie, 2023, 2024. Don't exactly remember. But I don't think I'm going to go that direction this year. I think I am going to go the all-reliable Marcus Bontempelli as our first midfielder. Obviously, 1.16 million, also very similar to the Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. But I think he is definitely going to be our first key midfielder. Okay, to partner Marcus Bontempelli in the midfield, I, again, have no real idea who the best value picks are. I obviously have my favorite players I think are really good. Whether or not that reflects to fantasy score, I could not tell you at all. Looking at this, there is some really high priced players this year. I think 18 million is the salary for the team this year. We're already burnt through 4.16 million of that. Look, I really don't know who our next pick is. I am gonna again pick one of my favorite players as a Lions fan. We'll chuck Will Ashcroft in there. Obviously, 2-time Norm Smith medalist. He has been very, very good the last 2 seasons. The Lions back-to-back premiership runs. He has been one of, if not the best player on the team. So he has to go in there. And looking further down the list here again, I want to go a bit of a cheaper option as our third sort of key midfielder. I want to go a bit further down. Actually, look, Tuke Miller, I think, is going to be... He would be a great pick this year. But if you do have a look below him, we do have Christian Petrarca at 950,000. He is going to be breakout at the Gold Coast Suns this year. He is going to be incredible. Not a doubt in my mind. So as our third key midfielder, we're going to throw Christian Petrarca in there. Throw him in there as a midfielder. So yeah, there's our 3 key midfielders for this year. Okay, so now we've got our 3 key midfielders for this season. I do want to move down to our forwards for this year. Obviously, the forwards are your lower scoring sort of players. However, they are my favorite players to pick because one week they can get you 40 points, the next week they can get you 110. So we will see who we have to pick here. First off, and this is my Lions bias coming in again. Zach Bailey is looking pretty good. 85 average right there. 876k. He can be a roaming midfielder for the Lions, and he was very, very good last year. So I think I'm going to chuck Bailey down there. Not so much as a key forward, obviously, but just as that midfield forward that will get us a lot of points on the odd week because, you know, he's just that good. So we'll chuck him down forward. And just under him, you would have seen him, Riley Thilthorpe. He was another one I had on my list that I thought of picking up. Big, tall, mobile, worked wonders for Adelaide last year. Kicked plenty of goals. So as my key forward, or one of my key forwards, he is going to get thrown into the team straight away. And underneath him, we have the great Jeremy Cameron. So, look. Actually, I'm just going to go bang, bang, bang here with my forwards, looking at these guys. We'll throw Cameron in there as one of our other forwards. And Sam Darcy's looking pretty good. He really is. Jamari Ugle-Hagen's another one I really want to look at getting into the team for the Suns this year. He is going to have a great season, I reckon. But yeah, those are our 3 key forwards for the team this year. We'll just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, there's our forwards. Obviously, we spent a lot of money on these 9 players we currently have in our team, but these are our 9 key scorers. So I don't mind the fact that we spent half our salary on these 9 players. I can live with that. So yeah, we will pick up the rest of our players in these positions now. I'll probably chuck it in a quick time lapse and then I'll run you through the team after I'm finished putting it together. Okay, so we have just finished up putting our team together and we've sort of hit a bit of a wall. Kind of overspent a little bit on my starting 6 in each of the positions. We do not have any subs. Actually, that's not true. We have 1 sub. Also, I forgot to press record when I was putting it together. So yeah, there was no time lapse, but we do have our team finalized, or at least the first 18 finalized. So I will just run through that team now as it is. Obviously there'll be some changes made and I will keep updates on it leading up to the start of the season because I will need to put some work into it because yeah, way overspent. As you can see there, team value 18.13 million, 170k remaining salary. And yeah, we're missing 5 positions, so there's a little bit to fix up. But to start, we will start off with our defenders. So as you know, we have Nazaya Wanganeen-Millera as one of our key defenders, averaging 110. Should be a great inclusion Then you got Bailey Dale, who's averaging 95. He was outstanding last year. You know, he was one of our other set defenders. And you got Jasper Fletcher of the Lions averaging 90. So he is going to take, hopefully, have a breakout season this year. And he should get us plenty of points. And then to follow up our last three defenders, you got Daniel Rioli, Josh Weddle, and Matt Hinge to finish off our back six. All three really strong, slightly on the expensive side for some of their averages, 70, 69, and 64. But they will all play crucial roles in finals levels teams this year. So I don't regret picking them. They should be a good pickup for us. Moving on, we have our midfielders. So as you know, we got Marcus Bontempelli, Will Ashcroft, and Christian Petrarca as our three key mids. There's plenty of money spent on those three, about 3 million to be exact. But with their averages of 111, 98, and 90, they will be very, very good inclusions. Especially Christian Petrarca up there at Gold Coast. He's going to have a great season. Following those three, we have Levi Ashcroft, Harley Reid, Jagger O'Meara, Ollie Dempsey, Sam Butler, and our one and only interchange, Zach Evans. So, look, Levi and Harley Reid, they kind of set for themselves. They will both be really, really solid players this year on, maybe not Harley on a good team, but Levi will be on a very good team as long as he can get some minutes, which I expect he will. He'll be playing out there on the wing for the Lions. And then Jagger O'Meara and Ollie Dempsey. Ollie Dempsey, he's a big pick for me, averaging 74. He is up at the 763,000k mark. But him and O'Meara should be great inclusions as well. Sam Butler, sort of a fill-in, 489,000. He was me sort of trying to save some salary. Didn't really work. So yeah, it wasn't great. And Zach Evans, he's on 230k, hasn't played a game. He is bottom of the barrel. However, he is an interchange, so we will keep him there for now. Moving on to our ruckman, who I actually forgot to do a separate segment for. We have Semi Draper, who's now at the Lions this year. He can also be a forward, so that is great points value that. If he goes and kicks a bag as well as playing in the ruck for half the game, that is some serious points to be earned there. And then Sean Darcy as my backup ruckman. I had him in my team last time I did a fantasy team, and he was very solid. Hopefully he has a good year with Fremantle this year. I expect him to play a sort of similar role to Semi Draper actually. He will play that forward ruckman sort of role as well, so hopefully he can score some points for us. And we do not have an interchange ruck at the moment. Of course, there's going to be some changes that need to be made for that to happen. But moving on to our forward line now, we have Zach Bailey, Riley Thilthorpe, and Jeremy Cameron, who are all our set forwards. Picked them earlier. But to fill in the rest of the forward line, we have Mitch Georgiades, Jay Riccardi, and Cam Rayner. Cam Rayner, I think, is one of my favourite picks. Obviously, we have Zach Bailey and Cam Rayner. Both great game-winning players for the Lions. They can be the difference when they're on. It's just whether or not they're on, which is the difference. Both of them be worth lots of points if they get going. However, they might be a burden later in the season, but I don't know. We will see how that plays out. Mitch Georgiades, he's probably a bit stiff not to be one of my key forwards behind Thilthorpe and Cameron. 727k, averaging 70, almost 70 points, 69.3 points. He's great for Port Adelaide, and he's going to be a great addition to this team because he's another one that I had in my fantasy team from a couple of seasons back. So hopefully all those forwards have a great season. Obviously, Jeremy Cameron's nearing retirement, so hopefully he can play like he did last year, but that may not be the case. Riley Thilthorpe again had a great year last year, so hopefully he can back that up. But yeah, so that's our forward line. That's our makeup of our team for this season. Obviously, there is some holes in it. However, there is some really, really good, strong players, especially our backline. Our backline is very, very solid. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. Obviously, there will be some changes made As I said, I will get some interchange players in there who I will take out to save salary. I haven't quite decided yet, obviously. But yeah. Okay, so that is my 2026 AFL fantasy team, at least for now. Obviously, as I said, there is some changes to be made. If you have any suggestions on which players I should bring in or out, because obviously some of you guys know way more than I do when it comes to this sort of thing, let me know in the comments below. I will happily read them and take them into account because, look, I'm looking to have a good season this year. So any decent changes that you guys suggest, I will 100% implement. But yeah, anyway, so that's it for our first video of 2026. Thank you for watching. If you have made it to the end, might as well hit the subscribe button as well. We're going all in with the YouTube channel this year. So yeah, stick around and you'll watch some good content that's only going to get better, hopefully. But anyway, hope you had fun watching the video and have a good day.